Hey, everybody. I am Chantel Branch, your domestic violence specialist, educating individuals on why their decision to remain silent keeps them locked in abuse. I am an advocate, I'm an author. So if you have not picked up my last two books, I'm actually an author of three books. I co authored the third book. So, Decisions, if you have not picked that copy up, head on over to Amazon and check it out. You can always head on over to our website at www.mffproject.com. So feel free to head on over to our website and check it out. Again, I'm Chantel Branch, your domestic violence specialist. It is spring and I'm super excited. The world is opening back up. We are walking into the new thing. We're walking into a new realm, a new life, a new season. I think we're going to just, walk into it. We're taking our time as the world slowly opens back up. And just because the world you guys to still practice safety, practice, common sense, right? And some say sense is not common, but listen, practice common sense. Make it make sense. That's the new phrase right now. Make it make sense. So do your due diligence, keeping yourself safe, your family do. So, this is the second show of our spring series, and we're going to continue. We're continuing on. We started it back at the end of winter last month in March, and now, listen, we've gotten through Easter. Spring break has already, rolled past us. Some of you guys went on trips. I saw you, and it is the continuation of the identity of a woman. And we're going to explore this thing until we have gotten to the root of our own identity. I want you to be able to come on this show as a guest after listening to everything that I have presented to you with all the guests that I have and be able to talk back to me and tell me what it is you have learned about your own identity just from listening to all the specialists, all the therapists, the advocates, the resilient women, all the special women, all the women with all of this information, this power that have shared with you. So, listen, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times women are just not first. We're always second, we're always after the male. First comes Adam, then came Eve, right? And even in the workplace, right? Men get paid more, women get paid less. African American women get paid even less, right? So we want to talk about why women in sports ain't checking no bags. Why aren't they getting the amount of money that they deserve, that they require? I mean, they've worked for it, they've trained for it, they've given it their all, but yet they ain't checking no bag. And I know some of my English teachers are like, oh my gosh, she said ain't. So they ain't checking no bag, the women in sports. And we're going to dive deep into that today. Why they ain't checking no bag. So listen, I have a great guest for you today. Her name is Chiquitha Mayberry. She is the founder of Resilient Women. And listen, I'm just going to bring her up so that you can hear everything that she has to say about this topic. So listen, we're just waiting for her to show up. Hey, Shakita, how are you?
I am well. I'm so excited just to be on this podcast and to be a part of the conversation. And so I am really excited again.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you're from and how you got started with your company.
Yes. So again, my name is Shakitha Mayberry. I am the founder of the Resilient Woman, and also my non for profit is Mothers to Mothers. And me basically creating both platforms was to give that help to women, whether you are a mom, that will be for the resilient woman, and then for directly for moms will be for the mothers to mothers. And creating that space allowed me to be in the moment with understanding the journey that a lot of women are on without them feeling inadequate, without them feeling like they're in it by themselves. And so I watched my mom. She was raising 4 kids. She was a single parent. And I watched how there wasn't many resources that could help her. And so that is my passion. That is a part of the foundation why I do it. Why I do it is because I was a child watching my mother not experiencing the support and help that she needed, the consistent support and help that she needed. And so both of my organization and my company, we are consistently bringing the conversation, consistently providing resources. And so our dynamic, our desire is to basically be that advocate for women when they can't and don't know how to be an advocate for themselves, when they don't know what to say, when they don't know what to do. And so that is what my company and my 501c3 organization represents.
Awesome. That is very, very amazing. Hey, we need people like you. I'm so happy that that your organization is around, that it's in Chicago, because our youth need it, our women need it, our people need it, and the community needs it. So today's topic is women in sports ain't checking no bag. And I know, we talked a little bit about this, offline, but just to begin to open up the conversation, why is it that us as women, we're always at the bottom of the totem pole? It could be a bum man on the street that can get in a better position or a better paying job than us with the degrees, that who's has the certifications, who has put in the work and the time. Why is it that we're always seem to be left at the bottom of the totem pole?
Well, I love the question. I think that what we are experiencing when you think about the dynamic, the building of just even the word business, you automatically think man, right? And so because that has been the first brick, the foundation when it comes to businesses and everything else, there wasn't to where they put women a part of the foundation. And so when you're dealing with foundation things, you are going to build on that foundation, right? And so what we are experiencing now is that many people see that this foundation is unfair. Many people see that, with us talking about women in sports was never a thing that was created for women. But the conversation came in when it said, well, I can do this as well. I am qualified as well. But the problem with that is that this was never a situation where a woman was even invited, designed, desired to be a part of the conversation, to be a part of the industry. We were designed to be homemakers, take care of your children, different things like that. And so they put that stamp on women. And so now the conversation has been started, but now it's getting louder because we are seeing the strength of women in the fullness of it. And we are saying we appreciate the foundation that was laid, but now it's time to add men and women to the foundation of every aspect: business, sports, entertainment, producers, especially Black women, to be added up amongst all of that. And so we have seen the rise of, with Black producers, and we've seen it with Regina King in her first production, her first huge, production. But it speaks so much volume, because why is it that we are just now living, this was last year, to where this Black woman producer was able to tell the story of another Black man, right? And so we know the story, we know what happened, but it took the voice and the strength, the tenacity, the brilliance, the bravery of a woman to bring the conversation back up. And so through her conversation and through her just producing, if I'm not mistaken, they have reopened the case of the individual that the movie was about. If I'm not mistaken, that is what's going on. But however, back to the question, is that women were never a part of the original idea when it came to business, when it came to sports. Women were designed to be in the home, not outside the home. And so that is why we are experiencing a shakeup. That is why we are experiencing this rumble. That's why we are seeing the roar of women saying, well, I am qualified to even do your job and my job, and I should be paid more.
Absolutely. That is well, well, well said. Yes, take a sip, take a sip. That was very, very well said. But I even think of who made up the rule? A man.
A man. Yeah.
Girl, you stay home, you take care of those kids, you feed the baby, you do this, that, and the other. And nothing is wrong with that. Let us
No,
be very clear, honey,
absolutely.
because when I had the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom, and right now I feel like I'm a stay-at-home mom, plus I'm working from home.
Yeah.
So I'm staying at home to be a mom and I'm working from home, and which is like a great blessing for me, because I get to spend more time with my children.
Yeah.
And so let us be very clear. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is
Absolutely.
it's a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing and it's a blessing if you have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah,
Let
it's
us
just
be
a thing of
very
learning how
clear.
to do both. Like I think with women, we have to say we can do both, and so we do have those to say there's nothing wrong, like you said, that is beautiful, that is needed. But then we have those like yourself and myself who know how to do both.
Absolutely. And I mean, we are, the I would like to even say we're let's see. I want to say the woman of the decade. I want to say we're change agents. We are, we're literally standing on the lines. We're standing on the lines where we have a 9 to 5 and we have a business and we have a family, and yet we are still and we're volunteering in a community.
Yeah.
You know. So and we're doing all the things that women have been doing for years,
Hmm.
for absolute years. We're doing that. And nothing can stop us, right? Us as women. And that is why I am so grateful for all the women over the years that have pushed the boundaries, pushed the limits, stood up and spoke out, marched, right? Even the women who said, you know what, we have the right to vote, and they weren't necessary, and they definitely at that time weren't necessary, they weren't
Hmm.
on the forefront as black and brown women, but yet again they were women. And
Hmm.
then as you move on later down the line, then it's more of us like, hey, don't forget about us, and so it's still a progression. My point is that it's still a progression of the woman, right?
Hmm.
And even bringing it up to 2021, we have the USA women's sports teams, right?
Hmm.
And if we look at the women's sports teams, and I'm going to take the WNBA. If we look at the
Hmm.
WNBA and we take one player from there, the top player, making 200,000 a year. Come on now, y'all. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's like not even the price of a whole house in Chicago. That's the price of a little bitty house in
Yeah.
Chicago, right? So we take one NBA player making about 200,000 a year to WNBA player to the male basketball team. I mean,
Hmm.
even the lowest paid person makes more than she does. How is that? How do we combat that? How do we get over that? How do we leverage that? How do we progress further? How
Yeah, I
how
think
yeah, how's she
I
gonna get
think that
paid?
a part of the progression is a part of us changing what everyone has become accustomed to. And the thing about women is that we can't, everyone is saying, like, I want to be in a boardroom or, and all that things. But I think that it's important for us to understand it's time for us to create the boardroom.
Yes.
And so a part of creating the boardroom doesn't mean that you are literally changing the address where the company have their meeting. You're changing the dynamic. You're changing the conversation in the boardroom. So that's what it means to create a new boardroom. We're not saying I'm going to uproot this property. We're saying that I'm changing the normal, what you guys were used to in the conversation, where everything was understood and seen by a man's perspective. But a part of me changing the boardroom consists of me saying, I also have this to bring not just to the table, but to the company. See the benefits of how many women admire what I'm doing in this industry, especially in the sports arena, right? And so we have to understand that we bring value, and not just value, our value brings change. And that's what makes us so important as women. You can never see a woman in history to where their one thing that they did, they change something and they add value. You create,
Yes,
you have a baby, you add value to your household, you add value to, and so it's just on those small things that we have to see the nature of a woman. We create value, and so we have to go into those areas, in those conversations, in those meetings, letting the company know I add value to this company just from me
absolutely.
just being out on the court.
Yeah. I
You
like
know.
that word. I like value. I like that word value. Um, because I don't think that everybody recognizes and even understands that they have
Yeah.
value, that they are valuable, right? We as
Yeah.
people are irreplaceable. You know, Beyonce sings that song,
Yeah.
Irreplaceable. And I think, women need to really adopt that concept that you are valuable. You're
Yeah.
valuable. Like you're irreplaceable. There is no price on your head, right? So there's always room for more. Meaning just because that woman makes 200,000, it's way more room for her to make 200 million, 2 million, 1.8 million. Can she get 1 million?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she still had to pay taxes on it, so it's still gonna put her right up under the million.
Right.
But I mean, valuing who we are
Mm-hmm.
is so important because if we don't value ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
even as women, as mothers, just in our households, our
Yeah.
children won't value us.
Yeah.
Our husbands won't value us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not married, how do you expect the person that you get into a relationship with to value you if you don't even know your own value? You don't
Yeah.
know your worth. You don't know who you are, where you're going, what you're doing. So, how can you lead and guide anybody when we're supposed to be the strong man of our house, right? We're supposed to be the leaders of our house. And not saying that we're taking the place of the husband,
Right.
but in the position that we have, we're supposed to lead our families.
Absolutely. I love what you said, is that sometimes women don't know their value. And a part of that really, when that happens, is that you have to go back to that moment where you felt like you lost your value, or where you weren't introduced to your value, and just kind of build from there. We're such in a world where we want everything handed to us, or we want everything, through a drive-through. But a part of finding identity, especially when we are speaking of how much you should get paid, you're going to have to do the work. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, because it's going to cause you to peel back some layers of, just the self-discovery. And you're going to have to be okay with that. And I know sometimes as women, we don't like uncomfortable situations. We are like, I want this done this way, because the moment I become uncomfortable, I'm going to run from it. But it's going to challenge you to be uncomfortable. And it is okay to be uncomfortable, because your reward is, you can walk around with your head held high saying, I found my identity. And the question will be, how did you find it? I went on a self journey, a self discovery of the moment I allowed someone to define me, to take my value from me, from the words that they said to me, for how they treated me, from how my areas of neglect and rejection, how all of that tore me apart, and how it took away my value. And so as women, we have to say, you deserve, absolutely, you deserve to your money. I agree with that. I will write the check and send it to the bank. However, I'm not going to give someone a check that don't know what to do with the money. And so the problem is that you'll know what to do with the money once you know your identity, because you'll know where to take your money. You'll know where to speak. You'll know what to influence and who to influence. And so that thing of identity is so important, because from there, we can walk into the boardroom saying, I am this person, because I've been on the journey of defining myself.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that, and when you said we can walk into that boardroom, when you know your value, it adds to your confidence. because you necessarily may not be that confident to walk in that boardroom when you
Yeah.
don't know your value, or you don't know that, hey, I've put in these amount of hours, I have this degree, I have this experience because I've been at this place for 10 or 15 years, or I've studied this particular topic or
Mm-hmm.
subject. I've interned, I've been an intern.
Mm-hmm.
And when you know that, you can walk in confidence.
Yes.
It is far too many women that are even watching right now that are not walking in confidence.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that your organization is called Resilient Women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Woman,
Mm-hmm.
because and even when I'm working with women with domestic violence, that's one of the biggest things that I want them to regain. And
Yeah.
you lose it. I mean, I feel like you lose it almost immediately when you get into that relationship. And the minute that your partner starts to tell you to dress a certain way, to look a
Mm-hmm.
certain way, to wear your hair and your makeup a
Mm-hmm.
certain way, they are already chipping away at your confidence. You don't even know it because it's a chip. It's a little
Yeah.
chip, a little chip, a little chip, a little chip. Imagine having a chocolate chip cookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And picture a nice size one, you know, maybe about that big, and having a chocolate chip cookie. And every time your partner says something negative to you, a chocolate chip from that cookie is being removed. And you know, a chocolate chip cookie this big ain't got but so many chips of
Yeah.
chocolate in it. So it's only a matter of time. My point is that it's only a matter of time before your confidence is wrecked. I mean, it is gone. And
Yeah.
it takes so much to rebuild it up, especially when you're coming out of a bad relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or you grew up in a household where your confidence was it was never allowed to thrive or to
Yeah.
grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you're going throughout life, and then you're realizing, hey, something is wrong, I don't know what it is. And when you finally figure it out, now you have to build on it. And
Yeah.
now, remember, you said earlier in the conversation, the foundation,
Yes.
and you talked about why it's important for us to have a foundation. Can you expand a little bit more when you say foundation?
Yes. When we think about foundation, we think about the first brick that was laid, right? And
Yep.
what that first brick represents. And so for our when we're dealing with women, we're dealing with our emotions, you have to ask yourself, what was the first brick that was laid that either built your confidence or destroyed your confidence? And so that brick can be a negative or a positive. And so if you are a woman and you're listening to this conversation, I challenge you to ask yourself, if you are in a moment to where you don't feel as confident, go back and ask yourself, what was the negative brick that was laid a part of your foundation? And the reason why I call it the foundation, because what happens is we build on our trauma, we build on our hurt. And the problem is that we don't build successfully, we build inadequately, because the thing about it is it's not a successful build. We just continue with life, and we never healed from that first brick, that allowed you to feel as if you are less than, and you begin to define yourself from there. A lot of times women don't just come out of the womb saying, I'm going to make bad decisions or I'm going to enter into a bad relationship. There was a brick of of
Yes.
of of, of a devaluing conversation, a like you said, even with the example of the cookie, the chipping away, that those things are part of the foundation, the brick that was laid. And so from
Yeah.
there we see women, and unfortunately we see them in bad situations. And in my heart is that we will start realizing the moment that an individual speaks a negative thing to us, our response is not to deal with it inwardly. Our response is to have that conversation with the individual. You are toxic to me. I can no longer have a conversation with you, because what's happening is that we think that we have to keep it to ourselves, and we just keep having conversation, entertaining the individual. But what's happening is every time that individual has laid a toxic brick, they come back with 10 more and 10
Yeah.
more
And
and
they
10
built the
more. And
whole
now you have
door.
a building just
Mm-hmm.
from that. So that's why I talk about the foundation. Just as we know what Jesus and how he built the church, we know the foundation of how he built it, and we see the condition of the church. We see how Jesus laid the foundation and why the foundation was so important. Jesus is who he is, right? He could have definitely done the work, created the world his own way, but it was important for him to be patient with his building process. And so I use that example to let women know that whatever your foundation is, that's what you're going to become. And so if your foundation consists of negativity, you're gonna experience a life where things don't go right. I'm not going to say a negative life, but things are not going to go right. And if you're a woman and you're like, I don't have those negative bricks, I'm just trying to find myself, then your responsibility, and I challenge you, is to go create those good bricks and build from there.
Yeah.
Find the goodness in you for both women. If you're one that has the negative and or you're the one who has no bricks, find the goodness. The goodness will be your foundation. Find the goodness that you have inside of you, your creativity, your beauty, your mind, your wisdom. All these things are the goodness that you have inside of you that will create your foundation that
Yeah.
you deserve.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that you used the analogy with the brick, right? And if we all really just think about, when you say brick, I literally think of the red bricks, I think with the three little holes in it.
Yes.
It right. And so if you guys have ever seen construction, right? And you know that they when they're doing construction, they start with the foundation.
Yes.
And they have to, the weather has to be right, the ground has to be in a certain kind of state
Mm-hmm.
before they can even lay that brick,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you think about the foundation, I want you guys to even think about, like, when you're laying that brick, when they're laying that brick, and then they have that wet cement,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, when the cement is wet, you have the opportunity to change, right? You have the opportunity to remove that stone, remove that brick easily, versus when that cement dries.
Yeah.
And like she said, before you know it, it's a whole building. You might have started with one brick, and then it became a little door, and then a wall. And now you have a whole building of negativity. And I want you to even think about removing that from your mind, like you're uprooting that brick house of negativity. Like it's almost like you're going to have to be bulldozed. That building has to be bulldozed. And so that is why we're on here. And it goes to having a mind shift, a new mindset, and a transition to changing who you were to becoming who you're supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
like Shaquitha was saying, we were all given a gift. Some gifts, everybody gifts look different.
Yes.
And that's just at the end of the day. My cousin does hair. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. We are the same family, but we don't even use our gifts in the same manner. And we both have clients, right? Um, we both have built clientels of different people, different calibers. And
Mm-hmm.
we can say, well, we have our older ladies that we love, and then we have our younger girls, but they're all different, and they gravitate. All clients usually gravitate to a stylist that attracts them, or has something inside of them that they want and they need,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you think about your own self, you think about your gifts, you have to realize that um, it's already in you, right?
Yeah.
But if that brick house of negativity is weighing you down or bigger than the gift that's in you, that gift is not going to be able to come out of you. That gift has to grow around that brick house and then grow up. Where if we remove that brick house of negativity, that gift has the opportunity to grow
Yeah.
straight up and out. And it will, give light. It will be a blessing. It will make room for you. It will, like talent is money, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it will bless you monetarily, bless you in your finances, bless you even in your community and the people that you love. But the first thing that I believe so it's so important for us to realize is that you have that brick house of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you've realized it and you've become conscious about it, that now you become intentional on having it removed so that you can plant. So not only that your gift can come out, but that the good things that need to go inside of you can build you a new house with a firm foundation of love and joy and peace and patience and goodness and kindness and gentleness and meekness and temperance, right? So you can have all those good things inside of you, and that will be your brick house. That will be your foundation. And that is the foundation that we are supposed to live on, that we're supposed to walk out, and we're supposed to demonstrate for other people.
Absolutely.
And they're like, and in that lies your joy.
Yes.
In that lies your joy. So so yeah, I just really like everything that you're doing. I have a segment that I do. It's called Spill Your Guts. And so keeping on topic with what we've been talking about today, and we were talking about women in sports ain't checking no bag, right?
Mhm.
What do you believe that you would like to have in your bag, or that you believe that women of today should have in their bag as far as finances? What do you think they should have in their bag?
Well, I think that women should have at least 3 accounts in
Okay.
their bank. Of course, one is going to be a spending account, and what's in that account is what you are limited to, right? So that can be, your spending account, and then you have your savings account. That is your savings account, you're saving, but then you have your emergency fund. The emergency fund is like, honestly, I thought my hot water tank went out last night, and I just told my husband, I said, I'm not worried because we have an emergency fund, for those things. But I think those are three things that women should have in their bag, because one, especially, and of course, you would do the same even for your business account. Of course, you would change it because you are dealing with your business. So you have to, go by the rule of running your business and how you run your business account. And so those will be the three things that I know is necessary to have in your bag.
Well, you guys heard it. Get you 3 accounts. If you only and Cash App count?
If Cash App does not count, Cash App can be Cash App can just be your fund money,
Play
or
money, right?
you
Yeah.
can receive money from there, but you're gonna put it in one of your accounts, and so you can do it like that, because what it does is it creates to where you're not just spending and spending and spending, but you are able to know how much money you are able to spend at the time. But because sometimes now when I'm at a vendor location, sometimes I do receive Cash App, but out of that I make sure that it goes to one of my savings account or spending accounts. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So there you ladies have it. 3 accounts. You said the savings account, the checking
Spending
account,
account
the spending
and your
account,
emergency
and
fund.
emergency fund. And don't touch the emergency fund um like what do you consider emergency that you should be only going into that fund for? Because everybody thinks of emergency as different. So what is the true emergency?
Emergency is would definitely be the example I gave. We need hot water in our house. And so that is an emergency. A new pair of shoes is not an emergency. That is an essential. That's not even an essential. That is something that you desire. And so I always say, if you desire, make some money real quick, but do not touch what you have in your accounts. Create an ebook or something like that. Create some type of online, book club or whatever, and just do something like that. But do not spend the money you have in your savings account. So again, the emergency fund is if your car engine literally just fell out your car, different things like that, or all your tires went flat, and the boulder is messed up on your car. Real things that are considered an emergency, because we need our transportation and we need hot water as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's some good stuff. Well, I was just looking and I just wanted to share the cap salary for the WNBA of 2020. The cap salary is, it says 1.3 million. And that's the salary for the team.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? That's nothing. So it's like women, we as women, we're still progressing, we're still pushing, we're still pressing our way. But
Yeah.
like Shakita said, we're creatives. Be creative. Create something. And I know some people are just not creatives, but I bet you know a creative that you can get behind. Because, a
True.
lot of times when you're creative, you don't want to do the business side. You want to be able to maximize your time in a day creating.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a business person and you don't like creating and you just want to maximize your time with the business expenses or the marketing and advertising, get behind somebody who is doing, who is being creative, who has a business. Because I guarantee there's some gift inside of you that you have that is going to benefit them, right? And I really believe that people who are left brain thinkers and right brain thinkers work great together.
Yes.
While you may think because they're so opposite they would never get along, that's absolutely not true. But they actually balance each other out, and they have different lens, and they are able to allow each other to see things from their own lens from different perspectives, and then they find a way to be congruent, to be together, to merge together, to make it work, to make it make sense, right?
Yeah, I
So
think that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I think that's absolutely right. I think that a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm not a business person, or I'm not an entrepreneur, or I'm not creative." And the thing about that is that, like you said, support other small businesses, but then also maybe you are just an investor. We have it to where we see now where people are like, I have stock in this company, and when I hear that, I would say to some people like, I would never expect for you to have stock in this company because it doesn't fit your personality. But for them, their response has been, I'm not creative, so that's why I have to invest in another company who's going to profit my money or allow my bank account to look with more zeros in it, more numbers and commas in it. So from there, I do encourage women to, say if you're not one who wants to create a business, look into supporting other women, like she's saying, or even maybe you want to do some stock, because the thing about it is that God has given us all permission. And I know sometimes we're waiting on the sign, but he has given all of us permission to gain wealth, to get wealth. And so a part of that wealth create conversation, is that of us investing into stock, us investing into companies when we see them, when they're starting off, and we are able to look at their 10-year plan, because you want to make sure they have a plan. You before you go in like, let me invest, and it's like a little penny candy store. No, but you want to make sure you are getting the information when you're going into investing. And so that is something that we have to encourage women as well, especially because we are seeing to where we are basically knocking down the door to say we deserve this amount of money, and so a part of that is us saying as well, this is how we're going to get our wealth.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us, Shakita, thank you so much for being on the show. You gave us enough to chew on. You gave us a nice piece of meat to chew on. Tell us how we can find you and just some of the things that you have going on for
Yes.
2021.
Yes, in 2021, right? Again, you can visit my website, shakithamayberry.com. On April 24th, 2021, this year, I am having a online women's seminar. This year, we are talking about Amplify. And we know when we think about Amplify, we think about loud. But we're not just talking about loud. We're talking about how to change your life. We're going to talk about how to change in your business, and even with not beyond your voice. And we're going to talk about how we can amplify our lives and how we can be the example that we need to be for our children, and then also for ourselves. It is so important for us to have a greater understanding of showing up for ourselves. And that consists of attending the Amplify Women's Seminar, because trust me, We have so many things scheduled for you guys that will help you on the path to help you amplify your life, not just your voice. We don't want you to just get loud, but we want you to get loud for a celebration of you moving forward. And so, Amplify, we are highlighting the fact that you are celebrating every challenge that you have experienced, everything that has stopped you. Amplify Women's Seminar 2021 is the place you want to be.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So is this a virtual or in person or both?
Yes, so this is a virtual seminar. I didn't want to open back up just yet because I know we are women and some of us are moms. And so I want to still kind of stick on what the parameters that we still have going on. And in the future, we will have one in person. But this will be an online seminar. And the good thing about that is that you don't say you end up not logging on that day. You are able to still watch the conference even if it's 30 minutes, an hour late, 3 hours late the next day. You still will have access to watch the conference because you have purchased your ticket.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Well, you guys know, check out Amplify Conference, April 24th, 2020. So I would say to you, and today we talked about women in sports ain't checking no bag and just the identity of a woman and why it's so important. What would you say to the women of today? What do you want them to know or to begin to just have in their heart, or as a seed planted for them to just begin to let it sink into deep into their soil and be a word of enrichment? What do you want to say to those women?
My words of encouragement to them to dig into their soul, to be a seed. It would be the conversation that I am consistently saying: become anchored and your resilience. Listen, we all have experienced that moment to where we feel this thing is going to kill us. It is going to destroy us. But the thing about becoming so anchored is that you will bend. You're going to go back and forth. You're going to feel like you're caving in, but you will not break. And so allow that to be a part of what anchors you, that you're going to go through these emotions. You're going to have all of these crazy experiences, but you will not break. You will learn from them and you will grow from them as well. And so that is a part of the nature of being a resilient woman, is that we can go through the wind, we can go through the storm, but however, it may take us a while, but we're going to get back up. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Our narrative about women is that we have the strength to get back up. And that is what your resilience will consist of. And so my encouragement to you is to become and to remain resilient.
There we go. Become and remain resilient. Get back up. We don't break. And sometimes we bend, but hey, we back up. We back
Yes.
up.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. You have definitely enlightened us. You have given us some good nuggets, and really you've given us some meat to chew on as far as women and individuals and identity, and why it's so important for us to begin to have those tough conversations and value ourselves, our worth, and be able to, like you said, walk into that room with confidence. Like, I know my price.
Yes.
What's your offer? And it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. I love how women are constantly coming together, and I like that you said that we both are saying support one another. There are
Yes.
too many of us. We're all I mean, and I sometimes I think of it as like crabs in a barrel, but we don't have to be crabs in a barrel. We all don't have to try to crawl and claw our way to the top of that barrel to get out, to experience some type of freedom, and never look back or reach back to help the next person behind us, or the person that you stepped on to crawl out of that barrel, right? But let's just begin to support each other. Let's
Yeah.
begin to no longer put each other down, but let's begin to build each other up in confidence and love, and begin to first value yourself. And when
Yeah.
you're valuing yourself, Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can put a price on your worth because you're invaluable, you know? You're irreplaceable. It's something inside of you that nobody else in this entire world has. And when you know that, it builds your confidence and it allows you to walk in confidence. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Join us again next Thursday, as always, for MFF Project, Domestic Violence. I'm your domestic violence specialist. Join us for our Thursday night podcast at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll see you guys again. Thank you so much, Shakitha, for coming on and sharing with us. And hey, guys, check out her Amplify Conference, April 24th, 2021. Don't forget, head on over to her website, purchase a ticket, and be in the room. You know, it's something in there that she has, you know, and she spoke with such passion and such power that it's something inside of her that is trying to reach that little thing or that big thing inside of you that needs to be dealt with, right? And she talked about foundation and she talked about the bricks. So if you know you got some bricks inside of you and they're built in negativity, they were laid with negativity, it's time to let that go in 2021. This is the year of you. I believe it. I don't care what CNN say. This is the year of you. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time.